Welcome to the Nailed It Wall.
On this week's episode of the Nailed It Wall, we've called in the Queen of Positivity. The second time Mrs. Copenhaver is joining the Nailed It Wall to lift our spirits, talk about what this is going through, and throw some hooty-hoos out there. Buckle up and enjoy the ride. Welcome to episode 40 of the Nailed It Wall. I'm Mr. Lane, the STEM guy.
And I'm Mrs. Scofield.
And I'm Mrs. Copenhaver.
Well, this is a special moment here. We're still doing our social distancing. We are recording our third podcast on Zoom. Feels so good to see two of my favorite ladies' faces on a Sunday night as we get ready to go into our first week back, technically, with the kiddos. There's so much good going on in the world. We had to bring in the Queen of Positivity to lift our spirits up. Now, as we start every episode, we started off, how did you nail it this week? Now, you might have nailed it not so good. There's been a lot of emotions we've been going through. Schofield, how have you nailed it this week?
You know, I was thinking about this a lot coming up to this, and I was thinking there's so many times that I have a plethora of failed it, nailed it stories, right? However, I feel like teachers need to be kind to themselves right now, especially because we've got so much coming at us.
So much.
Yeah, so much. And, you know, this week we got a whole week to prep, but so much of that is still us processing and digesting new material and like you and I, Lane, trying to dispense new material. And it's a lot. So I'm sure there's a million things that I kind of like missed the mark. However, this week I just have decided to say, like, you know, I feel like all of us are really just nailing it in the fact that we're so adaptable, and not just as teachers, but just as parents and just as human beings. Like, our whole world has shifted and we've figured out a new norm. And I think that that's something that's really tremendous. And, you know, on top of that, then we're trying to, you know, go into this uncharted territory of home learning or whatever that is, and try and pull kids in. I mean, our ultimate thing is engagement. Like, that's one of our biggest challenges. And finding a way to engage, like for me, 125 kids that have had 3 weeks of downtime is going to be our ultimate, you know, challenge, our next step in this.
For sure.
And I feel like that's something that I'm really excited about, and I feel proud of each one of us as educators, and I feel like we're all nailing it because, you know, I don't think anyone's thrown in the towel. I think we're all about to go into this next week, and I think that that's something to be really proud of.
Preach on. Well said, partner.
For sure. I agree.
I love everything you said there. And, you know, it's a community and everyone's coming together. And I just love what you said there. Copenhaver, how have you nailed it this week?
Well, I'll piggyback off what Christy said. You know, you guys are the Google gurus, and I am not so much. So
for
those of you that don't know, yet, that's the good word. But, you know, I teach math, and I like doing direct teaching. I like having the kids show their work on paper. I love using different strategies. And, you know,
Don't forget songs.
And songs, exactly. Yep. And there's tools online to do that, but it's just not the same. So I didn't really use online learning a lot in my classroom over the years. So this is all new to me. But I want to say I have nailed it because I have so much to learn, but I have my classroom set up. I have my Zoom meetings already scheduled and prepped into my Google Classroom. I've already been in touch with some kids, and I made a screencast-o-matic video and posted that. And I had one of my students, Peyton Conley, shout out to her. She emailed me and said, Miss Copenhaver, you're like a YouTuber. I know it's the first time, but you could be a YouTuber. You're okay. So I was like, hey.
Glowing praise
there. Yeah. You're okay. I'm in. That's good. So,
You've made it.
Yes. Now,
what,
it's a work in progress, but we're getting there.
Now, what is that? using Google Classroom as something now. What did those connections with the students, what did that mean to you?
Oh man, I just cannot wait to see their faces tomorrow. And so for now in my Google Classroom, I've just been chatting away with them. I have them fill out surveys and they write back, and I'm just asking, how are you feeling? Because, that's the most important thing here, is making sure these kids are okay. Because I mean, man, that's their routine, and the classroom is their safe place. And we make those connections with the kids every single day, and when we don't have that, it's hard. And so just to have that platform for them to reach out and know that I'm there to answer any questions or help them out, I mean, that's huge. And it's huge not only for them, it's huge for me. I need to hear from these kids and see how they're doing. So it's awesome.
Well, we're so excited. I was so pumped up that you were so excited using Google Classroom and just having those connections going back and forth. And Christy was telling me how much that meant for you and how excited you are using Google Classroom. We're going to talk a lot about those things, about connections and the social emotional health of teachers, parents, and students throughout this podcast. Last week was our virtual spirit week. Shout out to Mrs. Lincecum, and I forgot who else was helping out too, maybe Tessa or Mrs. Schubert. But last week was just so much fun. I just took down my fort that was in my living room all week. It was driving my wife nuts. I just took down my fort today. Scofield, is your fort still up?
It is.
It is. Well, and then so we had like these different things, and like the involvement of like all the parents and kids. It's just like it was another way to connect our community. In the last 3 weeks, we've just talked about all these powerful moments of SV pride, bleeding that green and purple. And my nailed it was you getting on. I did the Home Core AI app, which is awesome. It's such a cool app. It's augmented reality. It's just so much fun. And we're on the different drills, and we're doing like agility stuff now. My daughter's out there all the time just setting it up. And I've just seen her like handles go like crazy because like, when she's at basketball practice, she's working on shooting all these things. And now she's like working on these crossovers. And then I posted my video, and like within a half an hour, you posted your video and you're calling people out. And it just brought me so much joy seeing you do that. And I text Christy. I was like, my whole night's made. My week is made by Copenhaver posting that video. And that reminds me, Christy, we still have not seen your video.
#true. Yeah. I'm don't think that means that I have not gone back out there, because I've done it now twice with mixed results, but that is on my to-do list. However, I might not have nailed that yet, but I did share that resource with our buddy Summer, that's an 8th grader that I know we both are, it's near and dear to us, and she's all fired up to try it. So I'm excited to see where the spirals. That's not me pawning it off, because I will say I really like it. I'm not amazing at it, but I really like the challenge of it, and it's super fun, and both my kids really liked it. So it's something I want to come back to. But I was trying to do it on that little screen, and I got to tell you, there was no way I could see that little dot.
It was hard. I did mine on the phone, and I want to know that was my first try, Lane. I got
That was solid.
Yeah, no, I believe it. I believe
so. Someone has to beat 96 so I could do it again, because I only did it.
96 on the single dot there, and that meant so much to me. And Tony talked about the virtual spirit week and how much that meant to all the kids, and the things were fun. It was just such a great week, and I just loved it. But you downloading that app like within a half an hour and busting that out, and coming from my daughter when she saw it in the morning, she's like, I'm gonna get her, and so like that competition was so great. But I also have a second nailed it as well. Now my good friend Mrs. Scofield here, we're going to take a trip down memory lane. Now, do you remember episode 26, Christy?
Yeah, just like yesterday.
All right, just like yesterday. All right, now on this episode 26, now I'm trying to pull this up here. You made some statements. Now, I'm going to play a couple statements here, and then I want to get your reaction. All right, now the thing we talked about the podcast is it's like this running this
time capsule.
portfolio. It's like a time
Yeah.
capsule. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I love Basil. She listened to your episode twice, Copenhaver, just because it was just filled with so much positivity. And I love when you shared that text with me. I got choked up, just for that powerfulness. So I'm going to play 2 sections of this. It's a 3-minute clip, but I'm going to break it up here. Hopefully it transfers here as I play this. With a shirt off, probably jean cut shorts. He's wearing a fanny pack. Are we saying that you're going towards this look? No. It's I was bright neon fanny pack. He had leather ones. He literally carried everything in this fanny pack.
That won't show.
You can't hear it?
Not that last part. For some reason, it went down.
Oh, anyways, it's kind of hard
You know,
to
it's
hear.
hard
I don't know how to
prove it. It's hard to prove this without the audio.
I can tweet this out. Anyways, there's a portion at the end there where I'm going to send it to you, and I want you to listen to the whole thing. At the end of it, I was talking about my Disney trip and having a fanny pack and how I had everything in there. I had Band-Aids, I had my chapstick, I had my phone. And you made the statement that no way I would ever wear or own a fanny pack. And if I did, I would owe you something huge. And I haven't decided what that huge thing is. Now, can you tell us what you purchased this week?
Yeah, I actually purchased a really cool looking fanny pack. And I definitely never thought I would, because when fanny packs were in a long time ago, I never, ever owned them. However, we didn't have cell phones back then. And I will tell you what, when you go walking or hiking, Jolynn, I just went hiking with you the other day, and I had to carry that stinking drawstring bag, and that was the final straw for me. And I was like, I cannot be doing this. And as we get into hot weather, you go and you stick your cell phone in the waistband of your hand, but it's a little bit sweaty, so it's hot, and your cell phone's hot, and it's just not a good fit. So I buckled, and I do owe you, Lane. I do owe you, because I still, as your friend, I'm trying to be more supportive that you as a guy wear one. That's harder. It's harder for me. However, if it's okay for me, then I have to be more open-minded and say, then I have to be supportive of you as well. But that's a harder stretch for me. I'm not sure I support you.
I feel like you're attacking me more than you're apologizing for your.
I'm not.
I feel like you're trying to cover up for your shortcomings here. That by coming at me, you could say thank you for inspiring me.
Yeah, it is really cute. It's very surferish. It's very.
I don't think cute and fanny pack.
No, can I just show you? I'll show you. You keep talking. I have it. Hold on. You keep going on. Continue.
I just had to share this moment because she was in awe, and my daughter, she wears a fanny pack. We throw the phone in there, we got the music going, but then sometimes if my wife is home, she wants to stay home and not go walking the dogs, and I was like, I can't have it in my pocket rattling around, so I was like, that's where the fanny pack comes in. And on my walks, I've been counting all the people. Now, Copenhaver, do you have a fanny pack?
Oh no.
We got another anti-fanny packer.
No, I think fanny packs are okay for kids, but adults not so much.
I have to say I'm with you, but I really like this fanny pack. It's O'Neill, and I really like it. And I gotta tell you, I'm gonna be super excited next time I go out for a walk. Although it would have been helpful today, weather-wise, but who knows what our schedule is like going into this week. It's a little bit murky for me.
Yeah. Maybe you should just wear it all the time. Just
I could be like Badger with her apron.
Yeah, there you go. See?
She's bringing it in. But I would like to formally apologize, Rob, to you, because I am eating my words, and I was wrong, and I never thought I would see the day. But today, or no, it was yesterday, right? It arrived yesterday. Yesterday was the day. And
it is cute.
Thank you. That's what I'm saying. It's not, when I saw that probably a month ago, and Ella and I were like, I could see that. And I was like, oh, I have to remember that. That's the only one I've ever seen that I'm like, I don't hate it. And so there you go, right there. So
And I will accept your apology
thank you.
and
I owe you.
my big reward. I just want to start off a little fun there. Now Copenhaver, we've been on a roller coaster the last month or
Oh, man.
so. You even question yourself about coming on this podcast just because you haven't been your upbeat, positive self to 100%. Can you kind of break us down and tell us what this has been for you, what this has been like for you?
Well, you said it. It is a complete roller coaster ride, and I know everyone can relate with that. Like you said, I try to be pretty positive. I live life. I, I make the best of everything. And when I got news that school was canceled for the rest of the year, oh my goodness, there wasn't a positive thing for me to say. I was crushed. I've been teaching 19 years, and just to have my end of the year end like it did with no closure and just the unknown of everything going on, it was scary. It was really, really scary. And I had a big meltdown. I ugly cried. And I don't do that very often. And it's hard. It's really, really hard. I found myself, I didn't want to get out of bed. I didn't want to do anything. All I wanted to do was eat and eat some more. And it was just, I didn't have a good attitude. I was snappy with people, with my family. And then I just realized, Jolene, you can't be like that. You have to look for the good, and you have to be grateful for what I do have and what, I can make of it. So that was the lowest I've been. And I have just been going up, up and up every single day. Every now and then I'll have little dips and challenges, but for the most part, it's amazing the connections that I've made with so many people. And that's what's brought me back to my positivity, and just, all the things that you guys have put out for everyone, all the ideas. And, Christy is my idol. I tell you, I love Christy Scofield. She is the one that makes me laugh. On our virtual spirit thing, one of the scavenger hunts things said, "What makes you laugh?" And that's my Christy. And you need to laugh in order to survive, and you need to have your friends and reconnect. So that's what I've been focusing on to get my positivity back.
Well said. I remember that staff meet on Monday morning. I mean, people were a mess, but your picture kept popping up onto my screen, and it was just heartbreaking to see that life sucked out of you, and like teaching is our life, and that's what we love to do. And that was the most somber staff meeting that I could recall. And it was just a brutal start to the week. And I remember we were recording a podcast on Saturday night with Tony. Sunday we're thinking 2 weeks we're gonna be back, and then right before, we had that staff meeting at 10. I think we probably found out at 8:30, and that just spread like wildfire. And it was a different mood.
Yeah, but you know what? So it was like, I think a lot of people didn't want to go into a staff meeting right then because we were processing. However, we work with some of our closest friends. And so there was something really cathartic about us all sitting there processing this together and like having that community. And it kind of forced us not to crawl back into bed, not to, kind of go into a dark place. And we were just kind of all together. And I think it ended up being a really big gift to us, the timing, even though it didn't feel like it at the moment. It was kind of felt very much like, are you kidding me? Like, we just found this out. That's a lot. And then to go into a meeting. But, kudos to Tony and Shelley, because, our whole meeting shifted. Like, the agenda was not the agenda. And the agenda at that point became, kind of being there for the teachers and being a community and regrouping. And I think that was what we all really needed right then,
For sure.
Well said. Now, how have your kids handled this? You have a seventh grader and a junior in high school. How has this been for them?
It's been really, really tough. I know it has been for all kids, for your kids as well. And, they also are on a roller coaster ride, and having a teacher and as a mom, it's a little tough for them because I still, we started a schedule. And, if there's one thing that I think I highly recommend for all families to do is to stay on a schedule and a routine, because that's what keeps you going, and to set goals for the day and to accomplish something. So, the kids at first did not like it, but after we've sat down and we talked about it, and the week after spring break, I had them get up after, still at 8 o'clock in the morning. We watched our announcements together. We started the day just like we normally do. I love your announcements. Shout out to that. And thank you guys for continuing that, because that is something normal in our life. And I need that. And the kids and we laugh, and it's just amazing. So thank you for all your time and effort to put that together. But so with our routine, we still, we watch the announcements, we have breakfast, they have an hour of work on the computer, whatever classwork they have. We continue to exercise. We have to get outside, and that's our PE time. And then they get back on, do a little more work, and then chores, and then they have their free time. So the routine has really, really helped them. Then we had a little breakdown, Hannah especially, because she's having a really hard time not seeing her friends, and keeping a girl that can drive home, it's hard, and she understands, but it's still difficult. And so we had a talk, and she's like, Mom, none of my other friends have to do this. You're the teacher and you're making me do this. And I said, well, Hannah, what is something you want to change? And she's like, how you make me get up so early. And I said, okay, what time do you want to get up? And she said, how about 9? And I was like, deal. You got it. So now they wake up at 9, and that's going to change a little bit this week with online learning and their classes. But, just little things like that, just to tweak to make them feel okay. That's really helped. But I'm telling you guys, the one positive thing, not one, there's several, but the main positive thing out of all this is that we're like a family again. And I hope you guys have felt that as well. Like we always have dinner and stuff together, but now like we play games and we go on a run, skateboard, bike ride together. Tonight or this morning, let's start with this morning, Ross made pancakes all by himself. I'm like, I'm not going to help you. You figure it out. Use your strategies. Look at the directions. You can figure out how to flip it. And then he had to clean up all the dishes. He did all that. And then tonight for dinner, they had to turn on the barbecue grill and they made hamburgers.
Wow.
So, just things like that we never would have done that, because we're always in a hurry, and that's the one thing that I think it was Jen Orr posted, like, what is one positive thing about all of this coronavirus and staying home? And my deal was slowing down, everything was always in a rush and hurry and do this, hurry home. I have to make dinner and I have to clean the kitchen. And then we got to get homework done and shower and go to bed. And then you wake up and do it all over again. And now it's like, wow, even on my hike, I always just hurry up my hike, up the hill and down the hill. And lately I've been stopping and looking, oh, that cactus is blooming. Oh, look at the clouds in the sky, and so it's just been really cool to slow life down and communicate effectively with each other, play games. I know in your neighborhoods, how many people do you see out riding their bikes together as a family, playing, I had a family playing something like, it looked like a little ball, it wasn't basketball, but something they were playing in their driveway. And I mean, that's just awesome, right? Have you noticed that as well?
Yeah, and families, I don't think that would be normally walking together and doing all these things. And and I've felt the biggest impact as well. I mean, my daughter dances, she plays basketball, tumbling, so it's just like, and then all the things that me and Christy run at school,
Yeah.
announcements, esports, she's doing Moxie Girls, and I'm just, and my son, he was playing 2 sports, which was a lot, on top of tumbling, and now it's like, she's like, where does this path lead on the scooter? I'm like, I don't know. Let's find
Let's
out,
take it. Awesome.
and now it's like, like my daughter's been finding bugs on the trail, and like before I'd be like, oh, I got to get home. I got to get ready
Let's
for school
go.
tomorrow. It's Sunday, like
Yeah.
I've got chores to do. And, and that's the biggest thing is just, just having that routine. And I think my favorite thing is, every morning we go for a walk with the dog, and my dog is a beast. He's basically an Iditarod dog, and he's basically just pulling me. But my favorite thing is when the kids are 15 feet behind me, maybe not 15, 10 feet behind me, and I just hear them having a conversation, and like, they are best friends again because of all of
Yeah.
this. And those are things. And Christy,
Isn't
you've
that
had
awesome?
so many awesome, oh my goodness, the best.
Oh, it makes me cry. Yeah.
Christy, talk about
like what's been happening. Yeah. And I would say, like, for me, I mean, my kids, they definitely, they are fine. Like, they get along and they hang out somewhat. But what I have had is individual quality time with each kid. And that's it's so hard as a parent to be able to have those like little parts that are just separate. But that's what I've got. And like for my daughter, to be able to do all of these things where it's just me and my sophomore daughter, and the fact that she wants to hang out with me. And it's been so good. And like, I don't love the exercise regime she's picked out for us. That part's a little bit intense. However, but like, she does announcements with me, and she doesn't give me any grief about it. Like, she's so sweet about it, and it has been so helpful. And then like Sam, we've done so many things together, and movie time, and he's been reading Stuart Little to Finley, recording it and then sending it to her. And like, it's been amazing. And he had actually said to me last week, he's like, Mom, I know it's been stressful, but I'm really liking this time with you. And that is huge for a 7th grade boy to say, first of all.
Yes.
But he's being so sincere, and like meal time and all of it, everything is just, as teachers, as human beings, yes, but as teachers specifically, if you ask any teacher, like, what's the one thing that would make things easier for you? And we always would say time. Like, there's just never enough time. There's never enough time. And I think part of it is because there's never enough time to do all the stuff that we want to do on the level that we want to do it as educators and parent and do that other stuff. And so this has stripped every single thing away, and it is literally time, like, in abundance. And at first that feels very overwhelming and hard to digest. But now I think we're all kind of like, this is amazing.
Yes.
That part of it, it's amazing. It can be, I mean, I do feel for people though that don't have that unit, because that's got to be a whole different experience for people in that scenario, and that's got to be tough. And we have to remember that there are people that are kind of more isolated, and to kind of be those people for them, because it would be tough without your people,
No, Jolene, a lot of cool things have happened the last couple of weeks. Now, what has been your biggest thing, as a parent, as a spouse, as a teacher, in terms of like your social emotional health?
Oh man, it's so important to take care of yourself, because like I said, it's easy to go downhill. It's a slippery slide. So you have to stay busy. You have to stay focused. You have to set those goals. And so, Christy, I'm just going to piggyback real quick on what you just said. I have a high school friend that we Marco Polo all the time, and she's having a really—
That's an app, Rob. I don't know if you know that one.
Oh,
I
yeah.
did not.
Yeah.
I thought we were in the pool.
Yeah. It's an app.
Yeah.
It's like a social, it's a social
Yeah.
app. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay.
But, her daughter is a 6th grader, and she is struggling. Like, she didn't want to come out, didn't want to do anything. And so, my friend said, man, I'm really worried about her mental health, and she's depressed. She doesn't want to do any schoolwork. She doesn't want to do anything. And so I did a quick Zoom with her and just said, and I'm just going to say it again, it's the number one thing that she needs to do is, because I said, what are you doing? And she goes, all I do is just sleep. And I said, okay, that's the problem right there is you have to set a routine. So, those anyone out there that's listening that's struggling with their child, or if you are a student or, and you're struggling, make your own routine and set those goals, because that's what will help you. And then do something for others. I think that's the one thing that's really helped me is not being selfish and doing small acts of kindness. And, I am so blessed with so many amazing friends. My doorbell rang the other day and I opened up my door and here's a painted rock that said, Hootie, we love you. Get fired up. And as
That's
I look,
Myra, Rob, as
there's
Myra.
my friend Myra Romano and her boys all in the car waving as they drive away. And, just that small act of kindness, that not only made me feel good, I know it also made them feel good. And it got them out of the house. It got them, doing something for others. Just my good friend Christy Scofield here, she brought over sidewalk chalk. I was saying how I didn't have any, and I have some in my classroom, but I can't go back to school. And lo and behold, here she comes and has 2 things of sidewalk chalk for me. Just small things like that. I think that's what builds you up and makes you feel worthy. And little things like I went to the grocery store the other day, and it's a scary thing going to the grocery store these days.
Amen.
Right? And
Marco.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. And here I am, and I thanked every grocery store worker that I crossed paths with.
I hope from a distance, like from
Yes, yeah, right, 6 feet away. But just little things like that.
Yeah.
Thinking and doing those acts of kindness is good for the soul.
I agree.
I couldn't agree more. I was on a scooter ride and Myra was driving by. She just happened to see me, and that rock is sitting outside my door. It's where my daughter placed it. And like every time I go through the door, I make sure I move it in the right place. I actually did receive a small little care package from my co-host as well. That meant the world to my kiddos. I mean, there's just so much kindness going around, and
Yes.
and even over spring break when all this was like fairly new, I know Scofield and her sister came up with the idea of getting a band back together and singing a song. And Christy was the first person. She reached out to you and talk about like what that experience like meant to you.
Oh man, I'll start, Christy, and then I'll let you piggyback, because Christy called me and she's like, hey, we have to do something. I need a project and I want to lift others' spirits up, and what can we do? And we're throwing out all these songs. What do you think of this one? This one? We're like, yeah, that's good. And then I think we both decided on Lean on Me.
No, you know who did? Dina sent it to us. Dina sent that song because I had said a different one, and I cannot even remember what it was. But Dina threw out, "What about this?" And then right away we just were like, "That's the one."
Yep. Okay. Yeah. And then I just love how it all came together, and truly what like the sole purpose of it was, because of course we wanted everyone in that video. We wanted all of the teachers, but how do you get 80, some of us, faculty and staff to be on this video? So we just got the core group that, we keep in touch with and said, hey, let's put this together. And truly we made it for the staff, and we wanted the staff and the students to know we are here. We have to help one another. We're in this together. Here's this song just to lift your spirits. And then it just blew up, and I loved it, because then we had the challenge out. And then who was the first school that did it? Was it
Sandra Day
O'Connor?
No, Boulder Creek did it before them, because Sandra Day started right away and they wanted to be the first ones out, and Boulder Creek released theirs first. And so Sandra Day was like super bummed about that. But yeah, Boulder Creek and then Sandra Day, and I loved theirs. And then somebody else,
Hillcrest.
Yeah, Hillcrest. That one was awesome.
That was so good. It's just, what a cool deal, just that ripple effect. You drop a stone in the water and the ripple effect, that's what you started, Christy. And it's so powerful, and it means so much to everyone, and it just brings a smile to your face when you watch it.
Well, and I think that the thing for all of us at that point, for sure, is every single person that was part of that video, we were struggling. Like then, we were in the midst of so much, because at that point, we didn't even know we weren't going back to school at all. We only knew that school had been postponed to April 13th, I think it was.
Yep.
But for you, Jolynn, and for Rob and I, that rocked our whole world, because we both had really big field trips that we
did too.
That's what I'm saying. No, you guys and then us. And so it was like, for us, it was processing the school closure. However, it had a much higher magnitude for us because of that. And so we were all like, and people weren't really talking. Like, a little bit, people would check in or whatever, but there was no community through it. And the cool thing about that video, which was not even an intended thing, remember we put together that group text, but then it was more to just dispense that and kind of touch base. Well, then it took on a life of its own, and it's still going strong. And, it became people's lifeline, and it was this connection, and it immediately brought everyone together. And so it was like a byproduct that we didn't intend on, but it was this beautiful thing that came out of it. But it was people's lifelines at a point where we just needed it, because it's hard. It's hard to process so much loss like that, on so many different levels. So yeah, I loved that. And I loved everybody's attitude. Like, how fast, Jolynn, was it when I sent that text out, how fast people were responding? It was like, and you had said, I talked to you on the phone and you're like, okay, so tomorrow we'll look at lyrics. And I remember you texted me like, I think an hour later, I just got out of the shower and you're like, we're going to need to look at those lyrics today. Like,
let's get this going.
Yeah, we got to get this going. So it was so cool.
And Bill Withers passed away last Friday. I sent you the text. He's an amazing songwriter, and I sent you the text early Friday morning, and then Friday afternoon Hillcrest dropped theirs. And just like when you see that hashtag, the SV Challenge, and you talked about Danelle, how much that meant to her staff and them, and just seeing like Hillcrest staff and people that you might see at meetings and stuff, and their personalities, and you just know like what it meant to those people to be a part of it. And just on that Friday, where it was a somber thing of the passing of Bill Withers, and then just to see that song bringing so much joy to people, and how fast those videos were, going like viral. It was like so cool to kind of see how they would just explode.
I looked at O'Connor's today, and they're up to like, I think it was 3,000 views, I think is what.
Really?
That's awesome.
Blew up. And, you think of Bill Withers and like, what a beautiful tribute to something that he created in a time that, that was years and years. I don't know. I'm not good at that kind of stuff, details again, but a long time ago. And yet it's still just as relevant, and still a song that people are using as a go-to to really buoy spirits. And it's just so timeless. And what a beautiful tribute to his life on that day for Hillcrest to have released that. And I think also it feels like ages ago that we released ours, but it's only been what is it, like a week?
2 weeks.
I know.
2 weeks.
It's a short amount of time, but it feels like a million years ago. And so I kind of in my mind, not conscious of it, but I kind of had felt like, oh, the challenge kind of fizzled out. So for Hillcrest to do that, it was so rejuvenating to me to be like, oh my gosh, that's so cool, because it is like a domino effect, and you love to see that passed on and passed on and passed on, and that the intention of it is still, going.
Yep.
So true. And then we followed that up with a caravan. I was just so excited to see you. I love Hannah was driving. Talk to us about what that meant to you.
Oh man, I had to have Hannah because I knew I wouldn't be able to drive, because I'm not kidding, through most of it, I had tears streaming down my face. So I was standing up through the sunroof and waving and
It was the best.
everyone. Yeah, I had the best view, I tell you, that's for sure. But just all the families that came out and all the students. And then we even had a man come out and join. I don't know if you guys heard about this, but he saw that we were all teachers and saw what we were doing. And he used to be a teacher, and he joined in our caravan because he wanted, yeah, he wanted to support the teachers. And so he was, behind me in line. And how cool is that? And just to see the kids smiling and the parents and the neighbors and just everyone coming out. And we had a big turnout. Our
We really did.
is so strong. And it just made, I will never forget that. It made my day. It was a moment in time that I'll cherish forever. And I had my signs all over the car. I had use your strategies, do dream box, and the kids, when they would write to me on Google Classroom saying, I saw you in the parade and I'm still using my strategies and I'm working hard. So it was an awesome, awesome day.
I don't even know who got more out of that though. Like, was it us? Was it the kids? Was it the parents? I genuinely don't even know, because it was so uplifting to every single participant like that. I'm sorry,
sure.
Rob, I didn't mean to step on you.
And I'm pretty sure I saw a sign out there that says, Mrs. Copenhaver, I'm still using my strategies. I mean, that was like kind of like the buzz kind of going around there.
Yep.
And it was just so much fun and just so many cool things. And, this is, like you talked about, like, you just don't know what these students are going through and these families. Now, as we go into home learning, which kicks off tomorrow, what are your biggest concerns, or what are you worried about as we go into this next phase of education?
Oh man, well, I'm really worried that my Zoom link isn't correct. So I'm really hoping that works tomorrow. But I'm pretty sure I have that figured out. But I'm not really too concerned right now. I am just going into this to connect with my kids right now. I want them to know that I'm here for them. I want them to know that, yes, we are going to continue to learn, but I'm confident that every fifth grader is prepared and ready for sixth grade at this moment. If this had to happen at any point, I'm glad it happened now and not at the beginning of the year, because can you imagine? It would be a whole new ball game. But I guarantee every Sierra Verde student is totally prepared and ready for the next grade level. So they have nothing to worry about. So that's why I'm going to bring in that spirit as well. This is just going to be, I don't want it to be stressful. I don't want it to be, scary for them. I want it to I'm doing card games, and I'm bringing in, fun lessons, and I'm still incorporating a routine of what we used to do in class with my daily spiral reviews and do rathers and stuff. So I'm trying to keep familiar things, but for the most part, we're just in it to keep on learning and to work together and make the best of these last 2 months. And they're going to be just fine. They will.
I love it. Well said. Well said. Now, I love your positivity. Like, now, did you just have to dig deep within yourself to kind of pull that out of yourself and go back to your mindset and be like, this is not who I am. This is how I need to lead. Talk us through that. Like, how did you find your positive trail?
Well, I'm telling you, it's you have to dig deep some days, but you just have to keep pushing on. That's what it's all about. And their job is to learn, and my job is to teach. So I'm just going to keep pushing on, and we're in it together. I know if I need anything, I have both of you to count on. There's a whole bunch. My team is amazing. They help me every step of the way. So I know if something goes wrong, someone will back me up and get me back on track. and we're all in this together. It's a learning curve for everybody. And if anything, I've already learned so much. And that's, as an educator, that's so exciting. I mean, maybe I'll incorporate some of these online tools for next year when I teach, and build on everything that we've done so far. So it's all good. It's all good. We're gonna get through it. There's always someone out there that will help and listen and support, and we'll get through it. And I can't wait for the day when we can all just run and hug each other and and not stand far apart, and give our high fives and knuckles to these kids, and just have that closure and know that everything's going to be okay.
Well said. Well said. Now, what can you say about our admin team and their leadership, and what's that meant to you?
Man, are we blessed or what, guys?
Sure.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Tony and Shelly are absolutely incredible. They sent us a survey of our well-being, and just getting that meant so much to me, that they care. They want us to do well. They want us to make sure that we're okay. And just to know that they support us 100% of the way. They are strong leaders, and we want to work hard for them. And if we need anything, they are there for us. And we are so blessed. The students, the faculty, the community, we have strong leaders that are we're pushing ahead, and we're in full force, and they're awesome.
Yeah, that form was so crazy because, it was not sent out for information. It really was to feel the pulse of the teachers. It was such a genuinely kind thing for them to do, and it was so sincere. It was just like, you knew you could be totally vulnerable, you knew you could be open, and that you knew that they really wanted honest feedback. And I was blown away by that. And I know I heard from several teachers that just that one simple survey meant the world to them. And universally around the world, teachers are being put in a position that they have to shift everything that they've ever known. And that is almost universal across the whole world. What's not universal is not everyone gets the kind of support and the genuine backing and the tenderness that we get from, our district has been really awesome with us. And our admin has been, like, honestly a dream. I mean, that, talk about mental well-being, that is a huge component for us. Just to know that they are going to help us get there,
And the communication on all parts, from the district, from Tony and Shelly, from other teachers. I mean, that has been top notch, I think. And that's what eases the anxiety, is when what's coming up, or what's expected, or what is happening right now. When you have that information, it just relieves your stress and anxiety. And I think they have done an incredible job, because I wouldn't want to be in charge right now. Would you guys?
Nope.
Well,
let's be honest, I never really do.
Yeah. Well, I kind of like to be in charge of everything, but not on this case. No way.
I mean, talk about having to lead blindly too.
Oh, man.
I mean, they really have to, they're building the plane in the air, and they're just doing a heck of a job. I'm really, really impressed with them, and grateful for them.
Yep, for sure.
Well, we can't thank you enough for being so real and being so open about everything that you've gone through. And we know how tough it's not only been on you, but we think your story is going to inspire even more people hearing how honest you are about everything, and how hard this has been, not for only you, but your family, other students. And I want to get a Zoom motivational call from you. I think this could be your second call in here, as you kind of go around and really pick people up. But that's what you do. You just lead with energy and passion and positivity. And that's what I told Scofield. I'm like, we need Copenhaver. And then Scofield's like, I don't know. I'm like, I don't care. You get her on here. I'm like, people need to hear the beacon of positivity. And I can't say how much it meant to me just being your colleague and being your friend. And I miss seeing you walk through the quad and yelling Lane. And it's a different world right now. And it's been so fun just to see our faces and all the laughs we just had on this podcast. Anything you want to add, Scofield?
No, but I mean, more than ever, I just think that, your message is make connections, be there for each other, and really just choose to find a way to make this happen. Because us being upset or in a dark place is not going to change our circumstances. The only thing that we can control is how we're going to respond. And I think that you are a great example of someone that had a whole process of having to come out of that. Like, how am I going to take this really, really difficult situation and still be the person that I know myself to be, and make something good come out of it. And I think that that's what all of us are going to have to do going forward.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate the both of you so much. I cherish our friendship, and I'm so grateful that you asked me to be on here again. I hope, those of you listening, I hope I helped in some little way, but you just got to keep hope, and everything's going to be okay. We're getting there one step at a time. Reach out if you need anything. There's always someone to talk to. And
we'll attach Jolene's personal cell phone.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Hey, I would.
I know you would.
You can lean on me.
and her correct Zoom link.
That's right.
Yeah, and just be grateful. We truly, as Americans, are so blessed to have what we have. I mean, this is a horrible situation, but we all still have a house to live in. We still have food. Some of the things might be limited, but there's still, you can get what you need to get by. So be grateful. Tell people thank you, and I think that's the one thing that's going to come out of all this, is that we're going to be stronger as communities, better people in the end, more grateful. A simple thank you goes so far, we have so many people to thank, that are working so hard and, doing what they can to help out in every way possible. And, they don't get a bonus or an award, but a simple thank you means so much. And so
I agree.
I just want you guys to know that I'm thankful for you, thankful for your friendship, thankful for all that you do for the kids and for the community. And you both make this world a better place. And I'm very, very grateful to have you in my life.
What you said.
Yes, well said. Well, thank you. As we always say, we want you, we can't stress enough, reach out to somebody. Your teachers are there. They'd love to hear from you. We want you and your family to remain healthy, and most importantly, remain happy. As we always say, if you can be anything in the world, be kind, people. Now, if you loved hearing stories like that, make sure you subscribe to the Nailed It Wall. Every Tuesday, the latest episode will be downloaded right to your phone. Also, if you're on Twitter and you want to see Mrs. Scofield's Fanny Pack, or maybe you want to actually hear the audio of her crushing Mr. Lane and vowing that she will never own a fanny pack, make sure you follow us on Twitter. You can find me at Mr. Lane, the STEM guy.
And me at a positive proton. And Jolene?
You can Zoom me and email me anytime.